Hola Miguel, buenos días.
Buenos días. I see your Spanish is improving.
¿Cómo estás?
Ya lo sabes.
Ya tú sabes, sí.
Estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Hello, I'm Radek.
I'm Michael.
And this is the podcast.
A sounding board for interesting
Wait.
Wait.
Can we do that again?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Radek.
I'm Michael.
And this is El Podcast.
A sounding board for interesting ideas and insights. We discuss books we read and want to share with you.
As well as technology and productivity, which is what we do by day working on our app, Nozbe.
O lo que sea.
That's pretty good.
All right. So you came back from Panama.
Yeah, just tonight. I came back home. I actually landed on Saturday in Poland, but my just the logistics of getting to and from Panama were kind of tricky. When I was doing the thing with America and Florida this year, which was super complicated, I was like, I'm never doing this again. But 3 months later, here we are.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to do these things again unless you do.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was kind of too late because the main plane tickets were already purchased in March. So before I learned my lesson from the US trip. And so then there was nothing else to do but to kind of work with it because the plane tickets were from Dublin to Frankfurt to Panama City and then back the same route. So we had to get to Dublin.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to go from Poland to Dublin first and then to go to Frankfurt. I think
Yes.
total sense, yeah.
Yeah, so we took a bus from Torun to Berlin, then from Berlin to Dublin. We went to do some Irish pubs, got back on the airport, slept on the airport, flew at 5 a.m. from Dublin to Frankfurt, because that makes sense, and then on to Panama. We were foolish enough when we were ordering the tickets, we were like, we don't care about the Dublin-Frankfurt flight, we'll just skip the first leg and board in Frankfurt. But then someone thankfully made us realize that you can't do that.
No, it's not how things work. No,
we would be so screwed if we learned that on the day.
No, you would just wouldn't board to Panama. That would be the problem. Mm-hmm.
But hey, it was cheap.
Yeah, that's good. So, how was your experience of Panama, which is, I assume, a little bit different than the USA?
A little different from USA, a little different from Poland or most of Europe.
And you just went to Spain for a conference, so you can compare also Panama to Spain.
Oh yeah, that's true. So speaking about that, I just spent 3 weeks in Spanish-speaking countries, and so I have this really weird this inexplicable urge to learn Spanish. It'll probably pass. It'll pretty much already passed, but
you should, man. You should. You should learn Spanish. It's useful.
But that's actually a new experience because I've never been in a country that's not English speaking and that's not a touristy place where you can pretty much get about with English fine for such a long time. So I was never surrounded with every day for almost 3 weeks with another language that I don't know. So over those 3 weeks, I went from knowing like 5 words and a few swear words from Narcos to knowing, a few basic phrases and enough words to like ask for direction, ask about the price, ask if this is the place, or understand most of the numerals so that when people are answering me, I can understand.
Yeah.
I downloaded Duolingo on my phone and played with it for one day and then forgot.
Yeah, did you use any apps for that? Any apps to help you translate things or something like that?
Oh yeah. Google Translate is great, and actually, my friend made me realize that you can download the dictionary offline, and it's not as good as when it's online. But then in any situation, even if you don't have connection, in some faraway country or on an island which doesn't have
any
3G,
connection.
yeah, you can translate some simple words or phrases.
Okay. So what did you do? What did you do? So you landed in Panama, and then what?
So it was actually one of the cool things about the trip was it was like three different three very different things. So there was the city. We spent the entire first full day and a little bit of the day after flying in and half a day before flying out in Panama City, which is a big city, fairly modern, though also kind of wild in some ways. So there was that. There was a few days on San Blas Islands, which is on the Caribbean Sea. So a lot of sun. I got sunburn. Why was I so stupid? My skin is flaking off right now. But it was fun, and it was kind of cool. You're on these. There's like 300 tiny islands. On our island, it was like 100 meters in diameter. There's just a few basic huts, pretty much. We slept in a like a bamboo cabin.
Nice.
For 2 nights. There's pretty much nothing there, and it's not the touristy season because it's still rainy season in Panama. So there's like 5 other tourists in there, none of whom spoke English very well. Okay. But it was just like very chill, very nice, very warm. We did a lot of like motorboat trips to other islands and just did a lot of snorkeling, looking at the coral reef. And actually, amazingly, some of the time, there was a super slow edge connection reaching from the continent on the island where there's nothing, where there's just enough electricity to power like 5 LED bulbs and nothing else. So there was that for a few days, and then we were in the jungle / the mountains in Boquete on the other side of the country, where it's much more higher up. It's much more foggy, even more rainy. It's a bit colder. It's not as hot, but it's still super humid, like 90% humid, which is quite tiring. And we did a lot of hiking. We walked up Volcan Baru, which is the highest peak of Panama. It's 3,500 meters above sea level.
Nice.
So that took us 11 hours to climb up and down. And on the very peak, where there's no trees around you, no mountain, no nothing, just like you're above the clouds. It's the air is so thin. It's like it's 2/3 the pressure of sea level pressure. So there's 1/3 less oxygen to breathe, and you can really feel that. And to climb to the very, very top, you have to extremely carefully walk up some rocks. Most of the route is very easy, just long, but the very top is like you have to be careful, and you can sense that you're not, you don't feel the same. You feel just weaker. So that was kind of crazy, but a lot of fun. And they also grow coffee in Boquete, and I had a few of the best cups of coffee I've ever had in Panama. And there's cool stuff like we did zip lining. So like in a little valley between like hills, there was like 13 zip lines. So you have this harness on you that you put on the line, and you just roll down to the next station, right?
Whoa!
And it takes like it was in a group, so it was slower, but it took us like 1.5 hours. There's 13 stations, and because you're going from kind of hill to hill, and underneath there's like you see like 50 meters or more underneath you, just nothing, right? Just far away trees and rapids and in like even further away, you can see the tall mountains, and you're just, you know, above it, and and hopefully strapped in very well, because it's a long way to the bottom. But that was fun. So it was fun, quite exhausting, but also not as much as I would think. As I mentioned, I'm not jet lagged at all, and there's 7 hours difference. So
So with for example, with the islands, the first part. So did you rent the motorboats, or they were just there, so you could just, you know, take them, or there was a driver there and you just had to tell them to ride you there or something? How did it work?
Okay, so that was the only thing that we didn't organize ourselves, but we it was kind of an organized tour.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is that the Sandblast Islands and a strip of land of mountains along the shore on that part of the country is controlled by the indigenous people there.
Okay.
Which are, you know, pretty much working independently of the Panama government, and only they can work there. So if we had like if we knew how to contact them, then we could probably do it much cheaper and whatnot. But we just like paid some travel company, whatever, to organize it. And so there's a driver picking us up, a Gunayala driver, you know, and then for 4 hours going from Panama City to the port, which is not a long way, but you have to cross a mountain range. So you go from 0 meters above sea level, and then up and down and up and down and up and down, and you want to puke all the way, and then down to the port. And then we were handed off to some other people who kind of drove us to the island. And then on the islands, they kind of took care of us. They give us the cabin. They give us like really amazing food, actually, like really fresh seafood that they caught themselves. Like
wow.
Some of the best fish I had, octopus. Some weird seafood that I don't even know the name of it. I'm still not sure what it is, but it was amazing. And then they would you know, kind of find us on the island, which was not difficult to kind of get us on a trip to one place or another. And like the cool thing about that whole kind of stretch of islands is that the water in most of these places is super shallow. So there are some spots, and we're taken to one of those spots where you pretty much have an island sort of below the water level. So we would kind of ride on a boat to a spot in the middle of nothing, and we would get off, and we would just like stand on the sand, like the water reaching to our knees or something, and just swim around and watch starfish and coral reef, and then get back and do some more.
Nice. I mean, even in the USA, there are things like there are places where the Indians, for example, they are controlling these places. So, for example, the Antelope Canyon, I remember when we visited it, it's also, you have to get an organized trip. You cannot just go there on your own. Have to get an organized trip. They drive you there. They explain you the thing, and then they just drive you back. So, yeah. So I understand that.
Yeah.
And the snorkeling equipment, they gave you one to
yeah. They had some. So I mean, we were packing super lightly. So I packed for the whole 13-day trip in my backpack. And you know my backpack, it's a regular sized backpack. It's not like one of those massive travel backpacks. So
did you take the iPad with you or not?
No, just my iPhone. I was iPhone only.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
For 13 days.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it. Yeah,
So that's my biggest achievement of the art of packing. My previous record was 10 days. But I also had like pretty much all of my equipment. I have my Mac, my iPad, my microphone, everything. When I was in Wrocław, Prague, and Warsaw, and here, you know, I didn't have all of those stuff. It was mostly clothes, but still, like everyone was shocked. Like, wait, you're going to travel in that? Just like, yeah. What, you think I can't do that? I can do that? Of course I can. But it took some some cleverness. We can get back to that.
No, I mean let's dig into this. So did you do some like washing, like hand washing, or there were some washing machines, or like how did you manage all the, I mean, and dry things? Of course it was warm, but it's humid. So when it's humid, it doesn't dry so fast. Yeah.
So when we were going, we weren't quite sure how to do this. We thought, okay, we'll improvise. There's a lot of, it just, like, that trip was a lot of preparation. And I mean a lot of research and preparation and booking things, because pretty much everything we figured out on our own. Like, we didn't want to pay extra to some people to take us with some group. Like, we wanted to do it on our own as much as we could, and also to do it on the cheap as much as we could. But still, it took so much time that there were still some things kind of not figured out. But with packing, the most important tip about packing lightly is pack for no more than 1 week. Like, clothes take the most space, and if you pack like only the clothes that you really need, thinking about crazy scenarios that are not going to happen anyway, just like the stuff you actually need, and only for a week. And then if you're for more than a week, then you do laundry. And so when we were staying for 3 days in Boquete, we kind of asked the locals if there's some place where they do laundry, and someone pointed us to one. And so with the help of Google Translate, we spoke to the guy at the laundry place, who spoke absolutely zero English, and he did laundry and drying for like $3.50 or something. So
nice. And
that's split in two. So so it was really not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, we're traveling next week for the Nusby reunion, and I'm always thinking, what to pack in order not to pack too many things, and it's I think it takes skill. So like, you have to just keep pushing yourself, to pack less and less, and like, you cannot go from packing 2 bags to suddenly going on a backpack. You have to just keep trimming things, to have them less and less, and then eventually you arrive there. Like for example, I was just over last weekend, I was again trying to analyze all the gadgets that I always have to take, like all the for example, all the cables that I always take, cables and dongles and all these things, and I managed to again review them and squeeze less of them, and have for example, my Rode microphone with me so that we can record the podcast. And so that was one thing. But second thing also, clothes. Figure out which clothes. For example, I prefer to take more of the kind of sporty clothes, like sporty t-shirts, because they are not cotton, so they dry very quickly. And also I have this kind of other clothes like this. And recently, what I discovered, I bought New Balance shoes for running, which are completely black. Completely black. So they are really professional. I mean, professional. They're really good running shoes, not walking shoes. Running shoes, but they're completely black. So they look like normal shoes. They don't stand out, so they can be used for me to go to a restaurant, like not a fancy restaurant, but a restaurant or any other place. I don't look ridiculous with orange and blue shoes. And then on the other hand, I can still use these shoes to go on a run in the morning, and then this way I have one pair of shoes and I have them on me, so I don't have to pack them anymore,
Yeah, the feeling like you have to take extra shoes is like that, like completely destroys the possibility of going with a backpack. Shoes take up a lot of space, and you're right. The problem with running shoes is they're all completely hideous.
Oh yes, so hideous.
And so there was a few trips where I would go in my running shoes as my only pair of shoes, because I thought, okay, there's a good possibility I'd want to go for a run, so I need my running shoes. but I can't take any other shoes. So I have to be in those hideous shoes, right? And so I did the exact thing. I got some, actually also New Balance shoes, which are not my best running shoes, but they're fine for running. Like I wouldn't normally use them at home for running, but if I'm traveling, they're fine for running, and they're great for walking a lot. And they also are also completely back. So and as for pushing yourself, first of all, practice makes perfect. I can see myself also pushing further and further over time and learning to be more and more minimalist without actually, skipping anything that's important. It helps to have a checklist, a template. I have my packing checklist as a template in Nozbe, and after every trip, I review it and I add things to it or remove things from it, and kind of try to optimize it more and more, right? So before every trip, I make a new project for packing, and I go through it. I immediately check off the things that I'm not going to take. Like the checklist is like complete list of things that for some trips I'll be packing, but for others not, like my Mac, my iPad, etc. So I remove things that I'm not going to bring on that trip. And then I don't actually check off anything as I'm packing. I just review it one by one so that when I'm packing before going home, I can also review it, right? And like the most important thing is how to pack your clothes, because those tend to take up the most space. So again, don't bring extra stuff you don't actually need. Like pants, long pants, take up a lot of space. So if I can, I will, like, depending on the weather and whatnot, I would only bring one pair of long pants on me as I'm traveling, and then shorts I would pack kind of as a backup or if it's warm, right? Because if I'm going to pack both, it's going to take up a lot of space. And if I'm going to bring both, then I would wear the comfy pants, which are more comfy for traveling, and then I would pack jeans, which take up less space into the bag, right? And so the way I would do it. I don't know the name of those things, but you know those bags. Actually, we had one with the Nozbe logo, like one of those bags which is just like two layers of canvas and these kind of lines, so that you can pull them together to kind of close the bag, and you can put.
Where is the same backpack? A kind of backpack, yeah.
Yeah. And so what I do is I will stack my clothes one on top of the other in the size of that bag, and I will put it in that bag, and then squeeze the bag. And the thing is that there's a few advantages to that. Like, first of all, if you're packing in a backpack, it's very difficult to lay your clothes inside a backpack efficiently, because it's like you have to go down, and this way you're packing them vertically, one on top of the other. You're putting them in a bag, you're squeezing the bag, and especially like the more clothes you have, the tighter the squeeze is. So it like really squeezes a lot of the air, even though it's not one of those crazy things where you pump out air or anything.
Yeah.
And then you can easily just slide it into the backpack. And then the awesome thing about it is that if it turns out that you don't have enough space, because, for example, you're coming back with more stuff, like if you buy some stuff and you're coming back with more, then you can take it outside of the bag, put take the bag inside of the backpack, put your stuff in a backpack, and then you can put that bag of clothes on your back underneath the backpack. Because the lines are so long, at least on the ones I have, that it lies pretty much underneath the backpack anyway. So I can, not like, it's not the most comfortable, but it's fine. Like, I can wear the bag of clothes and my backpack. And then if I need to, for example, on the plane, I can then, instead of putting my backpack underneath my seat, I can put it as my kind of carry-on luggage, and then the small bag, put it underneath the seat in front of me on the plane, right? So that way I can pack very efficiently, and then all of the toiletries I have, like, small small toothpaste, small everything packed in a really small bag, which just fits like perfectly in my backpack next to the Bose headphones thing. So yeah.
Nice. Neatly done. Yeah. So I think we just overdo these things with, we will wear that and the other thing, and we need that and the other thing. We should really, as I said, keep revising after each trip and really seeing what did we wear. I remember that when we went to the Silicon Valley for the WWDC conference, I bought there a nice pair of pants, which is out of material, looks a little bit like sports pants, but it's not sports pants, but it's so comfortable. And now this is my go-to pants whenever I travel. So it's light, it's comfortable, and And the good tip with the jeans, and the jeans you should pack if you really need them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then two more things I recalled. One is I needed to bring a towel with me because of the trip to the islands, right? I wouldn't get a towel there. And I was like, okay, that's a problem because towels take up a lot of space.
Oh, yes.
A lot of space. So the initial plan was to not take a towel and then buy it in Panama City and just like only do the 1 day of traveling with that extra thing, but not have to carry it around the world with me. But then someone suggested to me that there are those fancy high-tech new towels,
which microfiber.
So microfiber thing, which are of this like super thin material, and it feels really weird on your skin as you're drying yourself, but it works just fine to dry yourself or just to lie on something on the beach, and it dries super quickly because it's super thin. And when you fold it, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's really small.
How small it is. And then another thing was the jacket. Like, Panama in September can be rainy, really rainy. But like, how do I bring a jacket with me? Again, jackets take up a lot of space. So I got one of those sort of raincoats from Decathlon.
Yeah.
Which is just of a very thin kind of plastic-ish material.
Yeah.
Not fabric. And again, it's kind of difficult to fold, but when it folds, it's super small. It takes up zero space. And it's not the nicest jacket, but it's just something I would put on when it rains. And thankfully, it's not another one of those, like with the running shoes, one of those sporty, hideous things. It's just completely black. And so, like, if you weren't paying attention, it just looks like a normal jacket, but it's like super small.
Yeah, it's good to invest in these things. Like, I always assumed that I would never. Because of nature of our work, because we don't have an office, and because I don't do really very businessy meetings, I normally don't take shirts with me, but if I have to travel and there is supposed to be a business meeting, which I really rarely do now, but let's say I do, or for example there is a conference and I want to look a little bit fancier than just my normal self, I usually still use polo shirts. And if I have a shirt, I have one non-iron shirt. And I just realized, I just found there was an ad on Instagram. Actually, the Instagram's ads are pretty interesting because they give you lots of smart gadgets there or something like that. And there was an ad for a shirt that looks like a normal fancy shirt, but has all these features that is it doesn't you don't see the sweat, it doesn't like you can spill things on over it, and it's it cleans. So I think I'm gonna get one of these shirts and see how they perform. To have just like a shirt that that can be folded easily, that when you unfold it you don't have to iron it. Right now I think we live in a good time that there are so many cool materials that are really really very useful.
Yeah. And then speaking about that, another challenge was how to pack for all of the range of temperatures that I'm going to encounter. Because when we were leaving Poland and when we would be going back, it would be about 10 degrees. It turned out it was actually warmer. It was really nice Saturday, Sunday, but I didn't know that, right?
And you wouldn't know that.
I wouldn't know that, right? And then I also knew that on top of Vulcan Baru, it would also be 10 degrees, right? But for most of the trip, it would be about 30 degrees Celsius. So I would need warm clothes, but how do I do that, right? Like if I'm traveling when it's cold, then it's no problem because I just have the extra layers on me. But if I have to pack them and carrying them around on me for 2 weeks while it's super hot, how do I do that, right? And so my solution for that was I have one of those long-sleeved, kind of very tight shirts from Decathlon as well, which is of this material which really helps you stay warm. Not sure how it's called, whatever, but it's very warm, and when it's folded, it's small, right? It's really small. It's just another shirt. And then I had a long sleeved shirt on top of that. And then I brought with me the thinnest hoodie that I have, which is the Nozbe logo hoodie.
Yeah.
Which is not a super great hoodie, but it's thin, right? So again, with some clever folding, I could fit it on top of the other things in the backpack. So when I had those 3 layers, even in 10 degrees, it was very comfortably warm.
Yeah, that's a good trick. Yeah, that's a good trick.
And so, I had to think about it for a minute, but again, like it takes some cleverness, and 3 layers instead of 2 warmer layers and modern materials. And then you can like really pack really lightly and still not freeze.
But it's a good tip anyway. I mean, when you travel, to think about the several layers of clothing, like to pack to wear the onion style, the different layers, because then you're more flexible. So like if it's a bit warmer, it's like 13 degrees or 14 degrees, you can remove one of the layers, but still have the 2 other layers and still be warm, instead of just 0-1 situation where you're either cold or you're just warm. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. That's why I was surprised to see your photo on Instagram, on top of the volcano with the Nozbe hoodie.
Yeah, it's pretty sure that was the first Nozbe hoodie and the Nozbe bag on top of Vulcan Baru.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about jet lag.
Yeah.
So
how did you beat that?
I was very pleasantly surprised that I had 0 problem with jet lag, which is
even there.
Yeah. This is my 4th transatlantic trip, and I think this is the best one yet in terms of how well I took the time difference. So going there, I think our clocks went just completely bonkers because of the fact that we were sleeping sort of on the Dublin airport, and then we were already like completely uncalibrated because of the 2-day trip to Panama. So when we got there by the evening, we were super tired anyway, and so we just went to sleep and we woke up quite normally. I don't remember, maybe 7, 8, 9 a.m. and that's it, right? So that's fine. And then coming back, it's worth doing a tiny bit of preparation to reduce jet lag. So going back, we would be traveling east, and the time difference is again 7 hours, right? So the last day, on the last night in Panama, we went to sleep a little early, and we woke up very early. We're supposed to wake up at 5. We woke up at 6, which is still super early for me. So it's already closer to my normal time zone, right? Because normally we would be waking up 8, 9. And like 5, 6 would be 12, 1 p.m. in Poland. And I normally wake up at 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
And so we would wake up early and we wouldn't sleep too much. We would only sleep like 6 hours, which is less than normal. So that at the end of the day, we're kind of tired. And so we got to the airport. We we boarded the plane around 7 p.m., which would be 2 a.m. in Poland. And now the important tip when kind of trying to combat jet lag in any direction is that once you board the plane and take off, you manually change the time zone on your devices to the destination time zone so that you're already aware of the time as it's going to be. Yeah. So we boarded the airplane, and to us, it was already 2 a.m., right? Mm-hmm. So we, watched some Narcos, ate the dinner, and around 4 a.m. Polish time, we went to sleep. And amazingly, I've never slept so well on a plane. I fell asleep, again, noise cancelling headphones, very helpful. And I slept pretty much without waking up for 6 hours.
Nice.
Yeah. So, 4 a.m. is late in Poland to go to sleep, but still kind of early in Panama. But because we didn't sleep too much the previous night, it was quite easy to fall asleep because I had noise cancelling headphones and we were at pretty much at the front of the plane, far away from the engines. It wasn't too loud. It was quite comfortable, and it's Lufthansa, so a bit better seats than most planes. To kind of try to sort of recline on the seat and try to fall asleep. And then when we arrived in Poland, I went to sleep around 1 a.m. and I woke up at 8 and I felt fine. So like going back east, there's 2 days which are shorter, which are compressed. Yeah. So you first of all, trying to gradually push back the time is helpful, and then it's helpful to sleep a bit less than normal so that you're kind of tired, and then but and also not too much, because those are 2 days which are shorter than they should be. And so if you sleep too much, then you won't be able to fall asleep on a normal time at your destination.
No, it's good. It's a good one. Especially, I like the tip of the night before, going earlier to sleep and waking up early.
Yeah,
this is a good one. I've never done that, so it's a good one to try. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the noise cancelling headphones. Did you put any music there, or what did you put there, or we just had them on without anything?
I have a playlist called Chill, which has chill songs, I guess, and I played it. On a low volume, so that I don't really, it's not loud. It doesn't make it harder to fall asleep, but just also but still drowns out the noises of people on the plane and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then I woke up and it wasn't there because the battery ran out. That's actually one thing that I was stupid enough not to pack, and I will revise my checklist to make sure it doesn't happen again, which is the cool thing about the Apple chargers, except for the iPhone charger, is that they have kind of the modular system for plugging to the wall, right? And I was like, okay, in Panama they have US style adapters, so I just took off the European one and I plugged in the US one because I have one for some reason, not remember why, and I forgot to still pack the European one.
Oh,
so when I got back to Poland, I had to manage my battery very carefully and charge wherever I could. I have a power bank, I have a battery, but you still have to charge that, and it charges really slowly. So that was a problem. There's also the Dublin airport, which has a third style of wall adapter, but I didn't have that, but that was fine. Yeah, but also, by the way, if you're doing any traveling, you really have to have a battery, an external battery, because especially when traveling, when on a train or something, batteries drain out much quicker than usual, and you don't always have access to to a wall. So to a power outlet. So definitely have a battery with you and all of the cables that you might need for that.
I just bought a very nice self-retracting cable, so it just goes like this, and it has a very smart connector, which is both Lightning and micro USB. And it's very smart. And then I have a big power bank, and this big power bank is really good. I can charge an iPad and an iPhone with that, and it's really useful, because I normally don't use it that much, but when I need it, I got it. So it's really cool.
When I one thing I would like to have, but I couldn't find quite what I want, is a slightly larger but still compact power brick, which has multiple USB-C or USB and USB-A and USB-C ports, because when I'm traveling with a full stack of devices, there's a lot of stuff to charge, and having to have multiple chargers, or having to do this crazy thing where you charge your MacBook and then from your MacBook you charge other things, it's just like quite really annoying, right? It would be better to have one brick which is powerful enough to charge all of those. It doesn't have to be, the giant 87 watt brick to charge the MacBook Pro 15-inch, but maybe a smaller one, but larger than the 12 watt small iPad charger with like multiple ports, so that it's easier to connect and charge all of those things. And of course, the future is in the Qi wireless chargers everywhere, but we're not there yet. So we have to manage the charging on our own, and it's annoying.
Yeah. So overall, the trip you're happy?
Yeah, I am. But there were so many instances on the trip where we did something stupid. We screwed something up, and we were like, okay, that's a lesson to learn in the future. Just a lot of mistakes, small and big. Just mostly a lot of small things. So, you learn on trips like that, like how to do it better in the future. Of the big mistakes, like the going Torun, Berlin, Dublin, Frankfurt, Panama, and then Panama, Frankfurt, Krakow, Torun is pretty crazy. So trying to get better logistics next time would be great. Do that can be more expensive also. That's one thing. Also, there's this whole marathon of traveling for me. The last 5 weeks was 4 different trips, and in all of September, I've been at home 3 full days. 3 full days. So it's been a bit exhausting. And on this trip to Panama, I couldn't really feel it anymore. But on the previous trips, I could really feel that I can't fully appreciate the trip, because I'm already thinking about the next trip. I'm already thinking of Panama, of preparing for that, and it was very draining. Like, it would be very useful to have at least a few days, like few good days or a week between those trips. But it just so happened that there were 2 conferences, one next to each other. There was this trip, which was already kind of booked half a year in advance, and then something else came up. And so it was kind of inevitable. But at the beginning of the year, there was pretty much 6 months where I was staying at home. And it would be just so much better if I had the number of trips I had over the year, but kind of more spread out.
Mm-hmm. And then in 1 week we were traveling again, because we have Dance Reunion.
Yeah, that's true. But that's easy. Though I have to make the presentation.
Yeah, but the rest will be taken care of. The food, the shelter, everything else will be taken care of.
Yeah, it's true.
The cool stuff.
One more thing. I would note about Panama. Everybody uses WhatsApp. Everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's quite shocking to me. Like, I know that WhatsApp is very popular in a lot of places. Everybody uses WhatsApp except in Poland, where no one uses WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But a scene that really shocked me was we were going to the Sandlas Islands, and we boarded the small motorboat in the port. And there was this old lady, like, I don't know, 60-something-year-old, lady, Gunayala, in the indigenous people of the region, in the traditional dress. And she was sitting in front of me, and she had a different carrier than me. So throughout the, 50-kilometer trip on, towards the ocean, she was constantly on her phone chatting through WhatsApp with people. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't an exception. Like, everybody did that. And the thing that amazed me the most is that all of the businesses use WhatsApp. It's not just people, but it's a thing that businesses use. So we had this coffee tour in Boquete, and there was a phone number on the website, but we're like, wait a second, that's not how you do things here. We're not going to call that number. We're going to punch it in WhatsApp. And obviously, it was there. And so instead of calling to ask a question, we just wrote to the coffee place. And they replied, and then we made a reservation and whatnot, went back and forth. And when there was something with the Sambas Islands, the middleman that organized the trip, and we had some extra questions, again, you did it through WhatsApp. And that's so obviously superior to calling people or sending emails. And it's actually a cool thing about the fact that WhatsApp, just uses your phone number as the identifier. Has downsides as well, but in this instance, it's very much an upside, because you just see some number on a website or whatever, and you can assume that they almost surely use WhatsApp, and if you're in Panama or one of the other countries that do that. So that was probably one thing where I was impressed that, wow, this is a more technologically advanced society.
Yeah, it's the WhatsApp. It's funny that how unpopular it is in Poland.
Yeah,
because in Spain, for example, everybody uses WhatsApp everywhere. Also, the businesses advertise their WhatsApp number. Yeah. It's their WhatsApp number. So it's the WhatsApp is, and then you create groups on WhatsApp. If there's a birthday of your child, you create a group for the people who are invited, and you just post everything in the group for WhatsApp. So everybody knows where the birthday is, what time, and whatever. You don't send any emails. You don't send SMS messages to people or just call them. You just create a group, and everybody understands that. Everybody understands the dynamic. It's normal, that you do that. So I have a bunch of friends in Poland, and we were discussing the way to improve communication between each other. And I was like, yeah, let's create a WhatsApp group. And I was like, not WhatsApp, what's that? I know how to do it. They were so skeptical about it. I had to really push through, my salesy, gene, to sell them on the idea that, that we should do the WhatsApp. And then once we did that and they set up the WhatsApp account, somebody was hesitant of doing that. And we said, okay, so you're left out. I mean, whatever. And then they would set up eventually anyway, the WhatsApp account. And then they were like, yeah, this is so cool. Yeah, of course it is. I was. Yeah. It's surprising that it didn't catch on so quickly in Poland.
But actually, a few weeks ago, I had a thing I couldn't figure out with my bank. Actually, also in relation to the trip, because I needed US dollars, because Panama uses US dollars, and so I wanted to get US dollars from my US dollar bank account, right? In the past, I would just go to a currency exchange, but if I exchange on the internet, it's cheaper. But I never before figured out how to get that money out, right? I found an article on the internet, but I still couldn't figure it out. And so I'm going to contact, and I'm already dreading this situation, writing an email and waiting for a response. That sucks. Calling sucks. And they
hold the line.
Yeah,
hold the line.
It's the worst, right? And I hate calling. Calling is the worst. Just in general, I don't call people, right? And they used to have this on website chat system, which is also terrible. It wanted Silverlight, Remember that?
Yeah.
The Microsoft Flash thing. I mean, that's also terrible. And like you do it through the website, you close the tab, it's terrible, right? And I was pleasantly shocked to see that they offer customer support through Facebook Messenger, which is a thing that everybody uses in Poland, not WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Everybody uses Facebook Messenger in Poland. And so I was a bit skeptical, but it sounded, hey, that sounds like a much better idea. And I wrote them, and someone very quickly replied to me. And like it's easier than calling. It's easier than emailing. And because it's already in an app that you use, then you'll see the response quickly. And so it worked really well. And then when we were in Panama, I tried to pay in some supermarket with my US dollar credit card, and the first charge was declined, and then it went through, and kind of I had an inclination to look at my phone to check, and it charged me twice, right? Mm-hmm. But the store manager wouldn't want to give me my money back. So okay, this credit card, there's this chargeback thing I've never done before, but it's supposed to work. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but it's like because of the time difference, again, calling would be super difficult. And so that's another advantage, because I texted my bank, which sounds ridiculous, on Messenger, and someone replied to me really quickly, which was amazing because it was 2 a.m. Polish time, and I knew everything I had to know. It was great.
So what did you do?
They asked me to check if both of the transactions are kind of resolved. I'm not sure what was the correct word.
Yeah.
And one of them was, the other one wasn't. And they told me that until the transaction is actually completed, then it might kind of hold a log for up to 14 days. And before that's completed, you don't do anything. And if it's completed and it's still there, then here's a link and look at that, and here's an explanation. And it just disappeared. So this is fine. But it was great that I could be 7 hours away. Very difficult for me to call my bank, and someone helped me.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, the thing about Facebook Messenger, what I don't like is, first, it's connected to Facebook, so
so is WhatsApp.
Yeah, I know. No, it's connected to Facebook in a way that it's easier for me, like, to switch to Facebook, kind of, and then there goes an hour of your time. So that's the thing. But second thing, Facebook is not encrypted. WhatsApp it is.
That's right.
So WhatsApp has like end-to-end encryption, and Facebook does not. And I heard people saying already that when they were exchanging information through Facebook Messenger, later they would see the ads in their timeline.
Yeah, actually, I told you that as well.
Yeah, you told me that, exactly. Yeah. But I think some other person just recently told me the same. But anyway, that's why I prefer the WhatsApp. I just feel more secure using WhatsApp. I know it belongs to Facebook, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of more secure. But the funny thing is that when we established WhatsApp, also in my family, people who didn't have WhatsApp, they quickly felt out, so they really quickly caught up and signed up for WhatsApp, and life was good ever since.
Yeah, this is the first time I signed up to WhatsApp, because I quickly realized that in Panama it might be necessary, and so we'll see if I can convince some people around me to use it as well. The downside of it is it's mobile only.
Yep. So
with Messenger, you can download a Mac client or use it through the website.
There is a Mac client.
Really?
There's a Mac client. This is, I think, Bluetooth to communicate through your phone. So I have my phone here. Yeah, I know it's stupid, but it works. I have my WhatsApp client right now open on my Mac. And when I'm sitting here, I just type in things. So it's faster than the mobile thing. So there's a Mac client for WhatsApp. There's no iPad client for the WhatsApp. There's a Mac client. So it's crazy. But it works.
I doubt I'd be able to convince anyone to use WhatsApp over Messenger, but we'll see.